And we are just picking one of the values, which is integrity. But let me remind you that when you talk about core values, we are discussing an organization's or a person's non-negotiable conviction. When you say non-negotiable, it means that the group has committed itself that they will go to their vision and mission within the boundaries of their values. That means they are willing to fail to succeed. They are willing to be failures rather than succeed outside those values. They don't agree with Machiavelli. The end does not justify the means. Even if the end is okay, if we operated outside our values, we are still failures. And that's really what we mean by values. So when you see values posted everywhere in your office, they are actually telling you these are the boundaries. We are willing to fail if the only way we can succeed is to break these values. And that's why there are not many. There are just a few. But it means whoever works with us, whoever leads us, whoever operates with us must accept us the way we are. Just like if you are short and you are dealing with people who are tall, they have to accept to operate with you as short because nothing you can do about you are being short. So similarly, your values, your core values are you. They are describing who you are. This is who we are. And core values are a set of fundamental beliefs. Fundamental. When you say fundamental, it means they are the foundation of us, of who we are. They are also a set of ideals. It's an ideal is something you want to live by. Even if you are struggling, you actually, that's where you want to be. That's your standard. You're also talking about a set of practices that inform how we conduct our life. It's like giving us our code of conduct, our direction. And this needs to be in two areas. You can't really say that these are my professional values if they are not your personal values. It's very difficult for us to be two people in different places. So that at home you are one person, in the office you are another. And that's why any new staff needs to be given these values right up front. And when they are given the values up front, they can decide, do I really want to work with this type of organization? Because if the values are just office values and they are not your personal values, you have a lot of challenges. You will not enjoy your time in the office. You will not enjoy your time in doing teamwork. These values can help an organization determine how to allocate resources, because you cannot allocate resources outside those values. It also is that gives you direction. Some questions become very easy. Once the question you are being asked will make you operate outside your values, it's a quick no. It helps you to make, and then it shows you the direction which you can actually grow. And I think that is something that is important for all of us to be aware of and to operate with. So, our value today is integrity. Integrity is defined as adherence to moral and ethical principles. Not just having the principles, but adhering to them. Your integrity is seen in what you do when you know no one will find out. Human beings are very complex. Somebody can behave the way he wants you to, he thinks you like him to behave. Just like when you ask a question by a boss, you start imagining, what does he really want? Then you tell him what he wants. So that doesn't show us integrity. There are people who are regarded as having very high integrity. So when one day it's discovered that they have been corrupt, you say, how could Nganga be like that? He was always like that. The only difference is that he was playing games. So really, integrity is seen in what we do when no one will find out. Put it the other way around. we are supposed to operate such that we do not mind our information appearing in the Saturday Nation tomorrow morning in the headline. It will not embarrass you, because who you are in private is who you are in public. You know, integrity is determined then by what you do in secret. Ask, would I mind what I'm doing appearing headlines in the biggest newspaper tomorrow? If I would mind, most likely I'm not working integrity. My emphasis here is integrity is not the behavior you show outside. It's your beliefs from within and what you do when you know no one is looking. And that's something that you need to think about. You know, I don't have the time this morning to deal with it, but I really want to encourage you to see integrity as well defined in Psalm 15. Psalm 15 should be a psalm for your organization, because that's where the word of God defines for us what it means to have integrity. Lord, who may dwell in your sacred tent? Who may live on your holy mountain? The one whose walk is blameless, who does what is righteous, who speaks the truth from the heart. You hear the kind of people who have integrity, who are candidates for heaven. Verse 3, whose tongue utters no slander, who does no wrong to a neighbor, and casts no slur on others. Can you see? The person of integrity is a dear person to live with. Every neighbor would want him. Whoever does these things will never be shaken. You know, this person of integrity, verse 4, despises a vile person, but honors those who fear the Lord. You can tell by the company he keeps. You can tell by who he approves and does not approve. And, verse 4 continues, he keeps an oath, even when it hurts. He makes a promise, then discover to keep that promise will harm him. He is willing to get harmed rather than break his promise. He does not change his mind. Let me repeat that. Who keeps an oath even when it hurts and does not change their mind. Verse 5. Who lends money to the poor without interest. Can you see? This person of integrity doesn't just deal with the rich. He does not mind people who cannot help him. He is willing to help them. Who does not accept a bribe against the innocent. So you need to understand, if you are a person of integrity, corruption, bribery, either in receiving bribes or giving bribes or in soliciting bribes, will not be something that is with you. You know, in saying all this, and I would like to encourage you to do a study of Psalm 15, you need to understand that integrity is in a wider scheme of things. Integrity is one aspect of ethics. People who have integrity are also ethical. And ethics is a way of life in which one is self-aware and also aware of the extent to which we are always a member of the community. No man is an island into himself. So in ethics, it's the way you behave in a community. It is human actions from the point of view of their rightness or wrongness for the achievement of man's ultimate end or telos. So basically what you are talking about when you say ethical, we are being ethical. We are talking about human actions in as far as they relate with the community is in. We are talking about morals. When you talk about ethics, you are talking about morals. And morals derive from the Latin word mors and moralis, all meaning people who live by a standard. You know, animals are said to amoral. That means when it does whatever it does, you can't say what an immoral animal. You can't see a dog jumping on another dog and you say, what an immoral dog. Animals are amoral. Only humans are either moral or immoral because they were created with the capacity to decide what is right and wrong. So when you talk about somebody ethical, you're talking about a moral person When you talk about somebody who is not ethical, we are talking about an immoral person. Both words have been translated from the Greek, and the Greek word from which they are translated is ethikos, which means custom or pertaining to character or disposition to behave in one way rather than another. This set way of behaving is one way in the ethos of a person. Ethic is therefore related to custom, to disposition, or an acquired way of doing things. So when we talk about an ethical person, we are talking about they do it the accepted way. And therefore, when you are a man of integrity, when you say you have integrity, it means you are ethical. But let me now go down. We have used now two words so far. We have used the word integrity and how it relates with ethics. That ethics is the wider picture. Integrity is one of the many things in ethics. But how can you have ethics? Ethics is based on values. Behind the behavior are values. In other words, your beliefs drives your attitude. Your attitude determines your behavior. How you behave is actually a fruit of root within. That's why when you tell somebody stop being sexually immoral, you are not helping him. That's a behavior. You need to find out what is it he believes that causes him to want to sleep with women. Now, if you could deal with his beliefs, he will stop doing the behavior. So when you're talking about integrity, we really must go down to the belief system of a person. Values are defined as deep-seated beliefs, conceptions of a desirable idea, which influences the selection from available modes, means, and ends of actions. So you need to find out what are your belief system. When your belief system changes, my friend, it will be very dangerous. That's why you find that if somebody believes something, they can't even get involved in the wrong thing because they become paralyzed. Beliefs are that strong. So that's why you need to work on if you want to be ethical, you have to work on your belief system. Jesus' Sermon on the Mount in Matthew chapter 5 reflects this distinctive relationship between foundational heart issues, which are values, and the moral decisions, which are ethics. So Jesus knows that what matters are fundamental heart issues, because they are going to then affect the moral behavior that we are talking about. And as I'm discussing, you need to ask yourself, why do you discover yourself doing some things that you don't want? You actually don't want to do them, but you keep repeating them. You need to go behind your foundational belief system. What is it that you believe that causes you to want to do that? For example, if you do not believe you are worth anything, then immediately I greet Lois and I fail to greet you. And of course, it was not intentional. I had something to ask Lois. You start imagining, Nganga does not like me. There's something wrong with me. Why did he not greet me? It becomes a problem. It will spoil your day. Because you are having a problem within you. You need to, until we change your belief system about yourself, your self-worth, you always collide with the people because you always interpret people's behavior wrongly because you're operating from a sense of security. One of the things I can give you sympathy about is if you are a supervisor is insecure. He doesn't believe he got this job correctly. He doesn't believe his ability. He doesn't believe he is worth that job. Every time you ask him a question, he will hear like you are saying he is not capable. So he is ending up with an unethical behavior, but it's all coming from his lack of belief system. Application should be in all areas of one's life. So, like I said earlier, if you really are a man of integrity, it will be seen at your personal level, seen in your family level, seen in your business level, seen in your social level. In every way, it will be everywhere. So integrity is a consistent application of ethical behavior everywhere, and that's why we are talking about integrity. And my prayer is that you look at your own life and see whether that is true. You know, if truth be told, you don't judge ethics. You judge what you see. Although I've emphasized value so seriously, the truth is, we on the outside will only see the behavior outside. And yet I've told you that behavior may be modified for your sake when I know you are watching me. So that's not really me. The behavior and the attitude is what will tell you if one is ethical. That's true. Even if you claim to have very high ethical standards, by looking at the way you behave, I can go back to find whether your belief system is ethical. Because you never do something you don't believe. I'm not talking about what you say you believe. That you can tell us you believe this. But the way you act consistently, except for a while doing drama, tells me what your belief system is. So I can tell your beliefs by your behavior. You actually believe, your actual belief is what you actually do. That's what James is saying in James chapter 2. Faith without works is dead. Means the truth is that that faith you claim to have actually is non-existence. Like the lawyers will say, it's void ab initio. It never existed from the beginning. If it did, you would be acting according to that faith. So faith without works means that if you really had it, would have seen it in action. So if you are a man of integrity, we shall see from the kind of actions that you are going to be having. You know, all believe stealing is wrong. That's what we all claim. How could he steal? That's what we all believe. But if you're a man of integrity, the truth is you actually believe it. But you know, you have either you are given anything you have in your house, or even currently on you. I'm challenging you. Anything you have, you are either given, and you must tell me who gave you. That dress you are wearing, how did you get it? That pen you are writing with, how did you get it? The giver must know he gave you if you actually got it as a gift. But a second way of having that pen is that you bought it. You worked, got money, and you bought it. But surely if you bought it, you must remember where you got the money. It's not yours if the money itself is stolen. If you cannot remember ever being given that pen, and you cannot remember getting the money to buy the pen, anything else you have is actually stolen. You are a thief. When we talk about integrity, it's at that level where you do not want anything to be called yours unless you can say who gave you and whether you bought it. That's really what integrity is all about. You know, but some unethical people don't steal money. They actually steal time. Let me ask you the question. What is the contract you have signed with your employer? 45 hours a week? Of those 45 hours, what time do you use talking to friends, following up your side hustle? And you are paid for 45 hours, but you are working 30. The 15 hours are stolen. You are a thief. And yet you have not stolen any money. It will be difficult even to jail you. But if you are a man of integrity, your issue is not the court. It is an internal belief system that I want to be a man of integrity. So I cannot sign a contract to work 45 hours and then I want to be paid having worked 30. You are a thief. You have no integrity. Another example. Your values. If they require you to give reasonable value for money, You are selling your car. You have repainted it. It has just had an accident. Somebody is going around it and saying, "Ay, has this car had an accident?" Oh, no. Can't you see how it is? You know the truth. So the person ends up giving you 1.2 million. Only when he goes to discover it requires a lot of repairs, and he has to use another 300,000 to repair the car. You are a thief. You did not steal money. You stole value. Because what I paid for, my money did not buy what I thought was its value. You are a thief. You steal by overstating the price or overstating the quality of the item you are selling. A man of integrity does not do that. So, if you are a man of integrity, you offer only what is the appropriate value for the money. I have discussed this matter in my book on integrity. I would encourage you, next time you are Scripture Union, or if you go to Amazon and Google my name, the book is called Integrity, the Litmus Test of Good Leadership. So all these notes are this information is from my book. Ethics do no harm. Treat others appropriately. If you're a man of integrity, we read in Psalm 15, you will not do any harm to others because you treat others appropriately. And I think that will be something very, very, very important for you as a person to do. So, we are really saying that if you're a person of integrity, you have an universal agreement on two principles. Do no harm and treat others with respect. Is that the way you live? And it doesn't matter whether you are dealing with somebody strong. In fact, they say the way, if you want to know a CEO is a man of integrity, and I've written that in my book, do not watch how he is in the office. See him in a hotel talking to a waiter. Let that waiter pour tea wrong badly and see how he will deal with that waiter, helpless waiter. That's the way you now know how he is. So you do not direct harm, you avoid foreseeable harm, and if you have done wrong, you apologize, you repair, because a people of integrity have committed not to do any harm to others. And I think that will be something. When we talk about that people of integrity treat others appropriately, it means that they have the key words of fairness, respect, keeping of promises, freedom of choice, quality, and privacy. They do not, for example, expose you. Don't tell them a secret. The next time you hear the secret with everybody, they will respect your privacy. And we could go on and on. All these are things that show that you have integrity. So, what we are saying then, if you have the value of integrity, you will be doing what is right, you will be protecting the environment, you will be have employee health and safety, you will show fairness, honesty, you will be telling the truth, you will speak in promises, and you respect others. That's really what we are saying. And this is the behavior of a person whose value is integrity. They will value diversity. Why? They know every one of us was created by God. We are not the same. So they will not hate people because they are noisy. They will not hate people because they are tall. They will not hate people because they are fat. They will not hate people because they will value diversity. They will encourage teamwork. They will open communication with everyone. They will empower others. They are committed to being better over time in personal development. And they will also appreciate everybody's contribution. And they also recognize the results of others. And they will take responsibility and be accountable for what they do, and not try to steal other people's ideas and not give credit. So, as I go towards finishing, because I would like to allow a few minutes for questions before we finish. Wow, don't think we'll be able to do a lot of that discussion. But why is it for an organization should have integrity? Why should an organization have integrity? Why have we taken that value as a value for the organization? My friend, it leads to competitive advantage. The moment you think you are dealing with an organization that is not ethical, that doesn't have integrity, you think twice. And unless that product is not available anywhere else, you are unlikely to deal with them. But the moment you know that this person, even if I made a mistake paying, they will return my money. These are people of such high level of integrity. I don't even have to keep counting my money. I can give them money, they will count for me. Everybody wants to come your way. Nobody wants to be cheated. So you have a competitive advantage over other people who are supplying the same service or goods. Again, why should you, as an organization, have integrity as a value? It leads to mutually beneficial collaboration. Other organizations, I know in the strategic plan we call it partnerships. Other organizations will want to collaborate with you. But if they think you cannot be trusted, they'll find a way of saying no without saying no. They don't want to hurt you. But you just find it difficult to get anybody to work with you, because they don't trust you. When they trust you, everybody feels like it's a privilege. For this organization to ask us to work together, it's a privilege. What a privilege it is. Because when they believe you have integrity. Why should we have integrity? Because not only does it give us competitive advantage, not only does it help us to have people we can collaborate with, it also leads to improved performance and revenues. When the organization is full of integrity, everybody does their part. Everybody pulls their direction. Why? There is fairness in reward system. There is fairness in promotions. There is fairness. Everybody feels very clearly, very, very clearly that if you actually continue and do the right thing, you will end up being credited with the nice thing you have actually done. But so when you feel like, even if I do it, nobody recognizes, how will the performance go up? Can you see the value if only all of us in the organization are people of integrity? The organization then is an organization of integrity. It will also attract investors and enhance investors' confidence. You go for a loan, if it's you. The boss told us whenever you want money, we can give you. Because you keep your word. A man of integrity will not create excuses not to pay back the loan, or to delay paying back the loan, or to get supplies. They'll get supply credit. Because if you say, you supply us, but you're not able to pay you this month, for you, even if you tell me 3 months, I'm willing to wait. I know I will be paid. And I think that's a very, very important thing to understand. And my hope and prayer is that that is something of this organization will be looking at. You know, if you have integrity in the organization, it makes people who have no integrity very, very uncomfortable. And within a year or two, they resign. Because they realize everybody believes things should be done in the right way. You know, when, for example, a supervisor does something corrupt, it gives permission to others to also be corrupt. When they realize nobody here is that type, they soon resign from the organization. So in the process, they reduce corruption and scandals within the organization. Everybody is proud to work there. And if you really take integrity as a value for the organization, it improves legal and regulatory compliance. You are not going to end up in court because you do all that is legally required by the government, by your clients, by your all stakeholders. You don't therefore end up in court. So you reduce your court appearances. And in the end, that organization's leadership will leave a legacy. And I think that's something that you need to hope for. You know, the reason corruption thrives, the reason why there is no integrity in an organization is the syndrome that is called everybody is doing it syndrome. Everybody is doing it. That's why when one or two people start doing something wrong, they need to be dealt with. That's why I told you that a value is a non-negotiable conviction. If somebody breaks a value, if they fail in one or two things, they should be forgiven. But when their values contradict your values, that's a time to get them off the bus. Because you can't work with somebody who believes something different from the way you believe. The moment they enter, everybody will find it difficult to have integrity because they're saying, but even my boss does it. And that's what encourages lack of integrity. You know, there's a story told about this boy who was at the seashore after a hurricane, and a lot of fish had been thrown onto the seashore, and the fish were dying in thousands. So the boy was walking on the beach when he saw them, and he started picking one fish and throwing it back into the water because it was going to die. Then an old man came and said, "Young boy, what are you doing?" "I'm trying to save the fish." The old man said, "Can't you see they are in thousands? By the time you throw them back, they'll all be dead." And the boy started thinking. He said, "Yeah, actually that is true." Then a second thought came. He said, "Wait a minute. True, they are all going to die, but not this one." He picked another one and threw it back. He was saving one fish, yet thousands were dying at the seashore. That's what will help you to be a man of integrity. Even if all around you, you are having people who lack integrity, in your small area, you will save the organization, and of course, you will save yourself. Don't go by that one, everybody is doing it syndrome. Another thing that causes people to lack integrity is intimidation. Everybody around you is telling you what's wrong with you. You know, how can you be like that? You know, I've heard these days, if a lady is in her 30s and she has never had a sexual encounter, the other lady say, "What's wrong with you? There must be something medically wrong with you." Earlier, we used to really praise girls of integrity who stay virgins until the wedding day. The thing is becoming so the immorality is becoming so rife that the others will intimidate you, peer pressure. Now, if you are going to be a person of integrity, you cannot give in to intimidation. You are willing to lose all your friends than break your commitment to integrity. Don't play the card of helplessness or fear of the boss. What could I have done? And he's the boss. Or I could lose my job. The God who gave you this particular one can give you another one. But sometimes they actually threaten you with death. And I've gone through that. Somebody come to my office. You can read my stories in my book. And actually with a gun and put the gun on the table. You don't change your integrity because you are going to die. So even you say you have integrity, it means you are ready to die than break your integrity. Unfortunately, my time is up. I have only 5 more minutes or so. So I want to allow to open up for somebody to make a comment or ask a question, because this is a topic worth discussing. It's a pity we don't have enough time to deal with it. But I hope I've defined what it is. Just unmute and say something. Let's use the 5 minutes well.
Thanks, Mr. Nganga.
Yes?
It's always a joy to listen to your insights and to have you around talking to us. I have two questions about integrity.
Yes?
One is integrity just a corporate word that's used by organizations in the corporate sector? And how do we make bridge in terms of biblical principles? I know you mentioned Psalms, but as Christians and a Christian organization, what's an equal term that we should hold that is equal to what they use in the world? Because you know that in the world they use often the term integrity, but it's more of a branding issue. So I'm wondering, in Christian organizations, what's an equal term that we can hold on to make that bridge? Number two is the question of temptation. If a person is tempted and they fall in one instance, for example, you're working in an organization and maybe you fall into a temptation of sexual encounter with a colleague once, or you privilege once or twice, does that make you a person or not a person of integrity? How does temptation, which is common among humans, come in the definition of integrity? Because as human beings, it's very hard to be consistent for maybe over a long time. You know, there are issues of temptation and redemption. So how do we relate that in terms of integrity?
Nimekuelewa. Is that Stephen?
Yes.
Now, nimekuelewa. Number one, Stephen, the term integrity is a biblical word. That's why I read for you. Integrity means living by the truth. And that is really a biblical word. The fact that the world, the corporate world has used it, does not make it evil. So the word is not the problem. What you call it is not the problem. What you mean by it is what is the problem. And whatever word you use, like you can have a value called honesty. That is a word in the Bible. But what you are saying is something true. And that's why you heard me. I don't know if you came at the beginning. And I say there's a difference. I quoted James chapter 2, where it says, faith without works is dead. Claiming to have integrity, but your behavior does not back it, means you actually don't have it. Faith without works means it is not there. That faith is not there. If it was there, we would have seen it through the works. So the problem, Stephen, cannot be sorted out by using different words. It is only going to be used by what we are discussing this morning. I'm sure as I'm discussing, somebody says, I don't like that explanation. Because explaining the word is what will matter. Not just using the word. And I know you remember when we were doing the strategic plan, I said we will not just use the word. We are going to write a sentence below the value to explain what that means to us. So another organization can have the same word, but their explanation might not be the same. But most important, the way I'm backing you, Stephen, faith without works is dead means it's useless to write a value if you are not going to live by it. But then that leads me to your second question. If you are living by it, then you can't have people living different from that way. And by the way, it's not, the sin is not when you are caught. Even if you are not caught, if you are not living by the standards that you have claimed you believe in, obviously you should not wait to be fired. You should simply resign. Now, to actually say that the temptation, again, you are the one who is more theologian than me, Stephen, but you know there is absolutely nothing wrong with temptation. I am in total agreement with you. You cannot say that because somebody has integrity, he is never tempted. So there is absolutely nothing wrong with being tempted. For example, if a boy is tempted by a girl because the girl was wearing a dress that is not quite appropriate, the management of the place should help the boy by telling the girls to wear better. Although here these days I'm being told boys should look after themselves. But there is the question of you cannot say you have integrity and allow people to dress half naked, giving temptation to others. That is not the fairness. And I told you people of integrity are fair. But let it be understood, there is absolutely nothing wrong with being tempted. What is wrong is falling into temptation. So somebody cannot be fired because they were tempted. They cannot be fired if they actually fell into the temptation. Because you cannot say you fell without knowing. Temptation, you can't help. Somebody said, you cannot stop birds flying over your head. You can't stop them. But surely if I ask you not to allow the birds to make a nest on your hair, surely that's a fair request. So you cannot stop temptation. It's like birds flying over your head. But sleeping with a girl, that is allowing the bird to make a nest. And there should be a proper system. If somebody has broken an integrity issue, they should not be given a pat on the back of the hand. It needs, if they do not leave the organization, they must certainly be suspended and rehabilitated. You can't say, oh, but you know, to err is human. The moment you do that, somebody else was struggling with a temptation. He says, you mean, after all that struggle, even if I fail, nothing would have happened to me. One of the ways of knowing whether an organization believes in a value is what they do with people who break it. So you can find a way of rehabilitating a person, but there must be some period of time for that rehabilitation. That's my view. Fortunately, Kimani, I'm not the CEO of the organization, but you asked me for my personal answer. That's my personal answer. The moment as a family you allow your children to constantly break issues without impunity, that value no longer is going to exist in your family.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
You said somewhere that when a new staff joins, he or she should be informed of the core values. My question was, should that person be given the list of core values or a documentation, or instead he should be told that whatever that you see us doing in the first 1 month you are here, that's our core values, instead of just...
Calvin, I hope not. If you are talking about a core value, telling people who you are, the responsibility of HR is to ensure the orientation program includes introducing the organization to such an extent somebody will agree not to work there because they now know who you are. And they don't know it by giving them a document. And Kimani has pointed to us that the word integrity is used in different places to mean different things. It is the responsibility of whoever is orientating the new staff not to just give a document, but to discuss every one of the values with examples, with what they have done with people who break those kind of values. Explain it clearly. After explaining it, ask the person for a chance to ask questions, like the way I've done today. Then they ask their questions. After they say they understand, they sign a document. I have read and understood the values and commit to live by them. Calvin, am I clear?
Yes, you are clear. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Who is the last person to talk?
Maybe I could ask a question. I know in the church we talk a lot about having accountability partners to help people who can talk to us and raise difficult issues that we may be doing in our lives, that they can, if we are doing something wrong, they can be able to point it out to us. whatever it is that we are doing, whatever it is that we are going through, we are supposed to share with our accountability partners. Is there a place for personal accountability partners in an organization like BSK?
Very much so. Actually, when I work for Shell, we try to implement it, but it's a very difficult thing to implement. But we actually ended up, us in management, being given people to mentor. People, they feel free, they can ask our questions, they can bounce ideas. But I must report it didn't work that well. The people that are allocated to me, we meet, we agree, we laugh. They're not asking me any questions. The people that are allocated to others keep coming to me. Now, so it's what we can do is ask people to pick the accountability partners, and you free choice. You feel who it is, and then it is their responsibility to report how they are going. However, this matter is so personal that even after you have done the pairing up, it all depends on each individual whether he is willing to be held to account. And that is, Thomas, what you are suggesting is a much better thing than ending up with prosecuting people for doing wrong. Because a preventive measure, explaining the values. But my suggestion is we need the supervisor to sit down with the staff they are working with to ask, what are you finding difficult? Which of the values are you finding difficult to practice? How can the organization be of help in assisting you? And hold your staff to account, just like you are being held to account by your supervisor. That is the structured way. And then you yourself as a person should always have something. I'm going to, one of the books I'm writing currently is on mentorship. And every one of us, I'm encouraging in my book, must have a mentor. Even somebody at my age needs a mentor. People that you hold, you respect, and who can ask you questions. And that should be a way of life. But Thomas, that's a fantastic idea. It has been done by organizations. It can be done by your organization. But the point is, it's not easy. Thomas was the last person. So the meeting is taken back to BSK program. That's the other name of his town. And before then, may I pray for you?
Yes, please.
Lord, we want to thank you for this discussion. Easy to discuss, easy to talk, but practicing as a whole organization, every one of us, at every level, not easy. I pray for every one of us who has listened, that this will not be just a statement, like Stephen is saying, a statement in a corporate body, but a personal belief system that we live by, not just in this organization, but in our lives, in our churches, in our families. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Asante sana.
Thank you so much. May I request Thomas on behalf of management to give a vote of thanks to Daktari for such a presentation?
Yeah.
At least Thomas knows I'm Brother Nganga.
Brother Nganga, asante sana.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you are joining us this morning, preparing a wonderful presentation for us and a wonderful message. And we want to thank you because we have worked with you in the midterm review and the new strategic plan. And one of the things I have admired is that you have gone beyond the call of duty, beyond what we have asked you to do for us, beyond what we have paid you to do. You have really gone beyond the call of duty to help us as an organization to be what Christ wants us to be. One of the things that I desire is that we will be an organization that is and does what Christ wants us to do, that we are doing the will of God in our personal lives and in our organization. And we are thankful, Brother Nganga, that you have been willing to guide us and to speak to us and to help us to be Christ-like. Christ-likeness is one of our